So yeah, Cybex here at Def Galaxia, chatting with a good old friend who I was blown away when I was went to his den when he had some records there for sale, and he's a bit of a DJ back in the day, certain places, and loves a passion with Italo disco. And I incidentally. A guy's been selling reissues lately, so I've been going on about Italo disco. Now with you, with the Italo disco, what were some of the first things, the first hearings of these records? I mean for me it was Koto and Rofo with those covers and everything, but was it Fun? Was that the first record you heard, or Happy Station?
It probably would have been Fun, Happy Station, the Scratch Mix. It would have been things like a lot of the German stuff, Modern Talking. Sherry Sherry Lady was probably the very first one from memory.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
Sherry
definitely.
Sherry Lady, and I remember where I heard it because I went down and asked the DJ what it was. It was at
Hunderte von Stunden am Mischpult. Sag mal, ist das nicht Yamaha Soul?
Ja, das war das Grunddemo, ist das da vorne. Das haben wir hier so zusammengebastelt, ne? Aber natürlich noch Sachen ganz anders, die im Studio irgendwie anders geworden sind oder so, nicht? Aber das war der Titel, wie er mal am Anfang war. Also.
Wie bist du auf die Idee überhaupt dazu gekommen?
Ja, ich habe hier so lange gesessen, bis mir das eingefallen ist.
the Travel Lodge, I think it was, in Brisbane.
The Travel Lodge?
No, the Travel Lodge. I'm sorry, I think I'm lying to you, but it was one of Juliana's DJs, and it was Sherry Sherry Lady. The first time I heard it, and I went, "That's pretty cool." And that was even before Mick played it.
Yeah, wow. And you were obviously you started earlier with the disconnects and all those sort of things, subscription and everything to hear a lot of synth new wave records and other stuff. But then those Italo boot mixes came out and all the various mixes, right?
All the Max mixes and things like that.
Yeah, Max Mix and basically Ken Laszlo Tonight and these. Well, what about Love Be Devotion? I mean, how did that hit Brisbane? I mean, that was Michael Bowe, yeah?
Oh, well, that was a little bit later. That was probably 87 when that sort of hit. So that was a little bit after that sort of initial early 80s sort of stuff, because there was a whole heap of stuff in between there. People like Spagner and things like that with Call Me and stuff like that, and Fascinated. And there's a whole range of sort of era in that 80s that... to us were all imports, but to them it was all just pop music in the country.
That's right, and those imports that you were finding there, was some of it down in DJ Betty's that shop down there?
With Paul.
Yeah, with Paul Taylor.
God.
So you were getting some stuff in there, obviously.
I've still got some stuff I bought from them. I bought a Prince medley back in the day, and that was horrendously overpriced, but I loved it back in the day. But yeah, I used to buy stuff from dance music down there as well. But I bought a lot of stuff from Mick initially because he had a pretty good pipeline. So I've still got the copies of the Boney M medleys and things like that I bought from Mick. With he's even got his beat counts on it still, and some of the second-hand stuff he bought. But I bought my first copy of Fancy and Digital Emotion and things along those sort of lines.
Right, Fancy.
They were some of my earlier ones.
I remember with the whole thing with Mick Evans, he was getting records up from Disco City, and he actually got in trouble for selling some of the records through the nightclub with this story he was telling me with promoters and that, certain licensing things too. So there was all that with the records coming out on various record labels, right?
Well, again, I'm not really privy to that, but from my memory, if they weren't licensed locally, there shouldn't really have been an issue. But maybe there was a license coming in the future, but I couldn't make any comment on that.
Yep. And yeah, so I'll just jump quickly here for a second because it was very amazing what happened. Jumping across to the Chicago Acid thing, you actually got Mickey Oliver. He ended up in Little Tin Can Brisbane, right? With the Hot Mix 5 business.
I mean, the Hot Mix 5 was pretty cool. It's funny because I'm actually wearing a Hot Mix 5 t-shirt, would you believe? A few coincidence.
Oh, cool.
I seriously am, no shit. No, I met a DJ on the Sunshine Coast in '88. He was here on holidays, and he worked in clubs in Milwaukee. And
wow.
he knew guys like Mike Hitman Wilson, just a whole list of names, and he knew a lot of the guys from Hot Mix 5 in the early days. And I actually caught up with him in January when I was in LA.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
So he introduced me to a lot of people. We would be sending. Each month I'd send him all the new Madonna Australian pressings. He'd send me a whole heap of stuff. I sent him stuff like Machinations and things like that, Due to You, some of the remixes. And he was playing that in Chicago, and nobody knew what the hell it was.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And I sent him stuff, some other Australian bands, and and like nobody knew what it was, but they was like, oh, this is actually pretty good. But they didn't realise the connection of where it came from. To them, it was like this was the amazing import. But he used to hang around with people like Little Louie from Limelights, and he'd send me all the passes and things like that, which was all very glittery to us in our little burg here. But there was an opportunity. You know, he used to also work for a radio station, so there was lots of people travelling through his world that way. So,
wow.
You know, every now and then we'd ring up and talk every couple of weeks, and I've got somebody here, want to say g'day? And went, yeah, okay. And I mean, if you look at some of the names of the Hot Mix 5 back in the day, Ralphie Rosario and a lot of these remixer guys, and they've done fairly big things.
They did, definitely. I remember Daryl Pandy was involved with some of the lyrics on some of these hits too that came out of Chicago. I'm trying to remember some of them now, but it was just wild how the whole Chicago Acid went from there across to London, you know, and then Marshall Jefferson and people like that were over there DJing. You know?
Well, I think it was a fairly big explosion. I mean, I feel very privileged having the opportunity to just every now and then chat to some of these people, which were just names on record covers every now and then. There'd be somebody at Greg's place, or there'd be somebody in the studio, and hey, do you want to say g'day? I went, okay. And it was just, a bit mind-blowing.
Yeah.
But it was, it was a bit of an education, and they sent me a lot of the Hot Mix 5 stuff, and when you looked at some of those names, like Mr. Lee was on there as well, doing a lot of stuff.
Absolutely. Mr. Lee, the whole thing with Hip House really kind of went here. I mean, we had the Alarm nightclub here that really went crazy on the Hip House stuff. And Mr. Lee...
I liked Hip House.
Fast
Cooper.
Oh, Fast Eddie, yeah.
Yeah, Fast Eddie, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm feeling old now.
And Hitman Wilson, we were mentioning earlier, he was the one who did Jack to the Sound of the Underground, is that right?
I don't believe so. That was Peter...
Peter Slouse, that's right. Peter
Slouse.
Yeah, that's right. I got it mixed. But that was a whopping. Yeah.
He remixed a lot of stuff. He's got a pretty good back catalogue and that sort of stuff. But, it was amazing. I've still got a lot of the early Hot Mix 5 stuff they sent me. There was some pretty cool stuff there. It was just so different.
That's right. It was very different.
And I took it to some of the record companies. The whole idea was more. And again, I was out of my depth completely, but I put it on tape and I sent it to a couple of companies and said, "Hey guys, do you have any interest in this?" Because that was back in the day when Sony CBS was releasing their dance label as well.
Oh yeah, right. That's right.
Do you remember that? They had Modern Rocketry, and they had a whole bunch of stuff they were releasing. They had Money by Mozart and a lot of these sort of artists as well.
Yes.
I thought, look, this could be interesting. So they sent me a bunch of stuff. I put it on tape, but look, it didn't really run. Unfortunately, it was probably still too far ahead.
Yes, that is the case, isn't it? Some things were kind of too far ahead and not grasping on a bigger level yet, but. That Italo disco did kind of grasp here, and I did see through your records, Silver Pelosi, and there's there was other guys, L Lombardi. I think that, with the whole sort of transfer of Italo disco into the techno part, so Italy also did go crazy on the techno part after the Italo disco,
I guess I wasn't really into some of the hardcore tech, but I really liked that simple, easy beat of the Italian and German stuff that was around in the early mid to late 80s, and Silver Pozzolini, like I said, Step by Step and stuff like that, and even things like Taffy with I Love My Radio back in those sort of days. That was probably one of the key eras that I personally enjoyed.
Right.
That it was just it was a different style of music that Australia wasn't quite ready for, and some of the clubs he grasped it and obviously did really, really well with it. But but if you go back to Australian music back in the mid '80s, the word Jimmy Barnes was the only thing on people's lips.
Yeah, look,
which I know that you've got a house mix of anyway, so that's fine. I appreciate that.
That's it. Yeah, so that's great. So yeah, thanks very much, Robert, for giving us a bit of a chat there on this stuff, because it's just, well, it's transcending now into the next generation, and there's new people doing remixes of it, right? There's things going on still, like I mentioned, Radius Records. There's still a hunger, for the old sounds to get back into it and do different remix dub versions. It hasn't stopped, really. It hasn't stopped.
I think the story of modern talking is an amazing story. If you've ever followed Modern Talking, they were huge in the early 80s with the two German guys.
Right.
They sold about 67 million albums, and they disbanded for quite a few years, about 10 years they disbanded. They came back in about 86, remixed all their old stuff with a rapper called DJ Singleton, or something very similar to that, so pardon my memory. And they sold another 60 million albums, basically by remixing all their old stuff, new bass lines and with new modern sound in 96, 97, and became huge again. And it's again that if the quality's there to start with, that's like the same with the remixing now. If the quality's there to start with, it'll always surface again in the future.
That's right. And what's your, just lastly, your recollection of the electro boogie type of era, with the kids doing the body popping and those early kind of Herbie Hancock Rocket and things like that. What did you think when you first heard all that sort of thing?
Look, I think a lot of us were introduced to that with some of the films that were around in those days as well.
Absolutely. Beat Street, right?
Exactly. I've still probably got copies of Beat Street, the album. It's got the 12-inch mixes on it from memory. I think a lot of us were firstly introduced on that level through that media, through Beat Street, and there's quite a few, movies and around those stages that introduced a whole range of new music to us, and again, it became a little bit more commercialised and acceptable.
Well, and also I think people of your and my age, sometimes it would be very rare to see a video of early things like of New York, the way they'd set up turntables in the park in the Bronx and all that sort of stuff. We can look now at YouTube, many things that are there on these documenting things of certain sounds and things they were coming up with, like Grandmaster Flash with his the way he would do stuff with his mixer and cutting and all that stuff. Yeah. So.
Well, it was such a groundbreaking thing, and it was so simple, and it was a case, well, okay, this is what we've got, how can we alter it? And now everything's so digital. Again, it still has its own benefits. There's still ways to do that, but I think everything was more hands-on, and it was all very experimental in the sense of, okay, I wonder if I can do this with tape and see what happens. And I guess that's one of those sort of golden, innocent eras that just grew.
Well, what about, so there was also the reel-to-reel era with Latin Rascals. Yeah. So Latin Rascals and all of that, with those radio stations, they were doing some crazy shit, right?
Yeah, and again, it was such an innocent era where it literally was, okay, well, we've got this, what can we do with it, and how can we make it sound, and, you know, and it hadn't been done before, and, you know, it's not as though they were trying to reinvent the car. This was a brand new thing.
Yes, it was.
And brand new music styles came from it.
That's right, and you know, I'm just so glad to have experienced it and passed the baton down to other people to enjoy it now. And you know, as I said, we can, you know, you can learn CD mixing, you can do all that, but going back to the roots of actually mixing vinyl on old realistic mixers and things, you know, CDC turntables with the round pitch control, yeah, right, so.
Yep, been there, done that.
Okay, so we found the Beat Street. Show us that cover. Now this is the NZ cover for the tape, original cassette from New Zealand. So, wow, I've never seen that.
I'm John Chartier. I played Ramo in Beat Street.
Okay, so Cybex at the fair right now. Just come across a 12-inch here that my friend has been showing me where he's done a remix on here. So Dave Mathmos remix. So Best Record is a distributor for Best Record. Tell them about the early days of the Italo DJing days in Italy. Boccaccio. Did you do the Boccaccio stuff, or that's more Belgium, isn't it? With
which one?
The Boccaccio nightclubs.
Boccaccio, you're talking about?
I think it's Boccaccio. Yeah, that's the one I knew about. But what's some of the Italian nightclubs that you used to mix out at?
Very famous clubs with Italo Disco was in Galaxia, Baia degli Angeli, Cosmic as well, Typhoon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Good man, I'm good.
Yeah.
So you were getting obviously going to the local record shops and collecting a lot of labels. What were some of the record labels you were getting?
I was actually selling record back in the days as well. Well, I started when I was 16 years old, and for us, the genre of music that we were growing up was Italo Disco, no funk, no soul, no electronic. It was just, you know, Italo Disco, which is part of electronic anyway.
That's right.
And so with this passion, I started to sell Italo Disco because it was huge. We're talking about from 1982 going ahead.
That's right.
And there was all those Italo Disco from trash, from the obscure Italo Disco of Robotnik, for example.
Alexander Robotnik, of course.
Yeah.
And then it went, well, it kind of exploded with the whole Dan Harrow thing, didn't it, a bit?
Dan Harrow is actually the Turati production made a Giochetto, which is playing a game with an Italian meaning. So Giochetto is like a toy in Italian, Dan Harrow's like money.
Yeah.
And so they create all these fakes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The fakes, talk about. I remember that 12
They made movies. They became hugely famous, like Milli Vanilli. But there was, unfortunately, that trend back at the time where a producer maybe wasn't a good-looking guy, so they decided to put a beautiful girl on, or a beautiful boy with muscles.
That's it. Well, thanks very much for having a chat with us. Running out of space here, but we'll just have a quick flick through some of the collection here. Which I was buying Clio faces, which is a great record, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's the other one.
Yeah.
That's Eyes.
Eyes. Those should be faces just behind.
Wow, that's brilliant. You know what? I think I'll buy that today. I'm going to get that today. Because if you're going to have one, you're going to have the other, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much. I don't think it's quite as good, but it's still pretty good.
I like it.
But best record, obviously, yeah, very cool stuff, man. So, yeah, come to the record fair and check out some good Italo disco here. All right. Casso, yeah, wicked.
Memories of my desire. That this love will last forever. It's either now or never. We're made to stay together. Let's make it last tonight. That desire burning through the night. That desire.
Alright, so just looking through the scrapbook. Get some scrapbook of early 84, early years of doing outlines and yeah. Some nice flow there, Holmes.
Sure. Sure, G.
True dat.
Oh,
yeah,
you know,
man. Oh, wow.
just keep bits of paper, you know. I haven't done anything for a while, but...
No, that's cool, man. This is back in NZ doing some of the pieces and stuff?
Yeah, pretty well up in NZ.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, wow.
yeah, a lot of it's sort of 90s, early 90s, really.
Yeah. Oh, wow, we've got some bigger productions coming here. Look at that.
Yeah, mainly 90s,
Yeah, that's,
really.
I dig that shit. Yeah, wicked. That's breaking and that. Cool. Yeah, man, some interesting stylo.
A couple of other pieces from some of the boys, you know.
Yeah.
Bit of a black book, sort of.
Yeah, it's like everyone's got their own black book, their own graph textures of in the days. So, yeah.
A couple of flyers from.
Okay, so
that was one of my nights.
Of DJ nights.
Yeah, that was every Saturday for 3 years at TARDIS nightclub.
TARDIS nightclub. Wow.
Sort of 98 to 2001.
Yeah.
Sort of some house party styles.
There we go. That's nice.
Yeah, a couple of local legends, just an NZ really.
Yeah.
Manuel Bundy from Auckland. Pete Diggs is actually now Shapeshifter. Pete Diggs, he's pretty famous in the drum and bass world, I suppose, you know. But,
that's nice, man. Really cool. Oh, wow. Yeah. Dig it, Holmes. Look at that. It's got a whole stack here, brother.
Oh, yeah, I just sort of got something together.
Always Swift.
Sort of some old sound
Swift with the old, is that the old,
oh,
wow.
Sort of old sound
Hampton
systems and
stuff. Yeah,
I was in LA just with some dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, a bit of, just some old stuff from home. This is at a nightclub.
Yeah.
I painted the whole club. That actually says Dancing Booty in Japanese.
Wow.
But when I didn't get the writing right, and they said it meant something a bit more ruder. Can't remember what it was, but it didn't mean dancing booty. Something else.
That's right. That's it.
oh.
Yeah. What's in there?
There's a bit
cool.
of style. There's one of my
wicked.
mates. It was an old school one I just done up in the forest.
That's right.
NZ style. There was a dude that came over from Germany and we were piecing some stuff at home. You know, just
wow.
Yeah, a bit of.
So how many years have you been in Oz now, like with getting into the cultural elements here and collecting and meeting various people?
I've been back for 12 years because I actually grew up in Adelaide for a little bit. Then my dad, because he worked in America, we went to Alice Springs and lived there for a while, and that's where I met a lot of American people. Back in the 80s, that's where I got into hip hop.
That's it.
And then I went back to New Zealand when I was like 18, about 18, and then I stayed over there for like 20 years. So that was in 88.
Wow, so, 88. What a year, 88, especially for the hip hop years, man.
Yeah, just little bits and pieces. You know, when you...
Little fly there.
And he said you
catch
fucking
that
do
at
the
the end,
thing,
hey?
don't you?
Oh, look at these ones. Jesus Christ, you got it all going on there.
Yeah, just a bit of...
Yeah.
Some of them aren't mine, but
Yeah,
a lot of them are. Just the boys. Oh yeah, that was one of my bros, Omarski. So that was like 84.
Yeah,
That was when I was riding Kid Smoove 26.
that's right.
26 for 26 Popal Gardens.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
Yeah, man.
But anyway, yeah. So
Yeah. Oh, what a bonanza.
few bits and pieces, but
Yeah. Love it.
Sort of like because I'm a Gemini, you know.
Yeah, I'm a Gemini too.
Oh, word! Oh, man, damn!
Gemini!
You know, the mellow and the fury, you know, mellow and the fury.
Yeah, that's it. Mellow and the fury. The gifted, we're all gifted.
Gemini's the gifted one, isn't it?
That's me back in the day.
Oh, what? Look at that. Hardcore pumping. Pumping at the nightclub.
But in the forest, you know, in the forest.
Yeah, in the forest, eh? Yeah, we get lost in the forest, eh? All those acid trip years.
Play up in the van, that was me.
Yeah.
That's the snowboard champs.
Holy Jack.
Jack in the house.
What the hell?
Chicago, that's when he after went to Chicago, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
The Chicago acid scene.
Oh, damn.
Oh, man. Oh, look at that.
This
Oh,
is
brilliant.
Some of the crew, you know.
Brilliant.
Oh,
Oh, wow,
damn.
wicked. That's nice. Really nice. Classic.
Yeah, but sort of simple, but old school styles, really.
Yeah.
Painted this restaurant with some
Yeah.
palm trees and
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
a few midnight raids, you know. You know how it goes.
Yeah, that's right. I know. And dark alleys of spray paint, you know, down the train line, and
Oh, GS.
boy, you know, you're on a mission, you know, when it
Yeah.
comes to peace and
Oh, Kid Smoove, there it is. That's me, Kid Smoove. So that's like 85.
yeah, it's smooth.
85.
Wow, cool.
Kid Smoove 26.
Yeah, it's smooth. All right.
Right. Columbo. Yeah, rocking. Gentlemen, DJ Tightwinner in the house once again, man.
DJ Tightwinner, Def Galaxia in effect. He's been also collecting techno, minimal. He was mentioning Luke Slater, right? So, and Robin Hood, which are basically, well, Detroit Field type of artists, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so I actually had a Luke Slater on DJ's records I liked quite a bit, called Clementine. The
yeah,
opening.
that's a cool record, that. Yeah.
Yeah, the opening. So, yeah. And so what about with the hip hop '90s stuff? Low profile, like things like that. What's some of your favourites there, man? Like,
Yeah, some low profile. What have I got here?
there's Foreign Legion. I don't mind Foreign Legion. They're a '90s. Actually, further than that.
Yeah, I have some indies I pulled out here. Let me just go to the box. We're playing a gig in Murbar tomorrow night.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Well,
where you were where I saw you last week.
Yep. Oh, that'll
We
be
played records
pizzazz.
and they've come back and play.
Oh, wicked. Bit of pizzazz there. Wicked.
3 hours tomorrow. Oh, what I have found of late is a thing called MCM Power Moves. It's from 94.
94 MCM Power Moves.
M.C.M.
Okay.
Yeah, MCM is called Power Moves, and it's called Straight On Up.
Wow.
It's a really beautiful, like, piano-y 94 style record.
Yeah.
He travelled with Gangstar and did things like on that elk.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I was playing Deep Concentration the other day, the old Gangstar 12-inch, which I've used in a couple documentaries, hey.
Yeah, so this MCM record's something I heard years ago and I just sort of never really came across. It's German, it's top loader, it plays at 45, so it was only a European thing.
Oh, okay, yeah, wicked.
Yeah, so that's something I came up on recently just because I thought, what was that? Yeah, sort of typed it in and I found it for, I think, 33 delivered.
Oh, wow. Fantastic.
Yes, I'll take it. So that's been this week's acquisition.
Yep.
Check it out. Nowadays I'm just with me. I can't give somebody an inch without the body trying to do me. And every day I'm hearing that he say, she say, this and this. Well, everybody needs to quit. I'm only into making back rap tracks to uplift rap. And if you don't believe, well, I got the proof. Raise the roof while I bring in a storm. Levels are set to blast. Word is born. A lot of rappers want a piece of the action. The extra long is in the main attraction. But I don't sweat it cause it ain't in my nature. I'm getting minds and rhymes and getting... Real funk and raw is how I like the beat, so I can feel the sheets. Taking what's on my mind back into the streets. I could fall off, but this ain't happening. Cause back in the days I had a love for jamming. Getting down to jazz, rhythm and blues and roots. But now I'm in hip-hop, sporting the black boots. In 93, a continuation of the beats for my rhyme skill. Down with this nation of rap. And I'm a true representative like Billy and Mysterious K-Boy, so there it is. It's a debut world premiere and all that, I'm all that. Got no intent to tread back, cause all I needed was time to realize what I had. So like James, cause I'm that bad, confident and built up. Just give me a beat that'll slam and I like the little bit chop. Dedicated to the ones who thought I had no rhyme, had no skills, just a waste of time. I got it going on, erasing mistakes that I made in the past. Like a flash, I'm coming back fast. For the real rap folks will endeavor. I'm making the real hits, rap fans remember. So catch a whiff of the funk, cause I unfold, cause I won't flinch. Cause I got soul and I won't flinch. Cause I got soul and I won't flinch. Cause I got soul and.
So basically, on a few different sides of the fence, you've collected for a lot of years, obviously, and educated yourself into sides of house and techno, and then electro. I mean, what's some of the early gems of electro that you were thinking?
Because I came up in the rave scene in Melbourne, so I arrived in Melbourne in the year 2000, and it was rave.
Right, of course.
Techno records. And then there was no CDJ. You know, there was no MP3 at that point. And so everyone that DJ'd had to have the record collection. So, you know, Melbourne was full of heads that just had, you know, 200, 300 records and would just buy records. Every Thursday was release day.
Wow,
It'd be like elbows up at the shop, and, you know, you get the scraps left of the big DJs around town. And so Melbourne was a techno city, you know.
So what about Central Station Records in Melbourne and stuff?
A little bit before me. Yeah, it was still around, but this heyday was a bit before me.
Yeah.
I have friends that know all about it and work there and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And they're in Adelaide, they're in Melbourne, they're in Brisbane, they're in Sydney. Yeah, but that was a little, because I arrived in Melbourne in 2000.
Yeah. I
was in Brisbane in 99.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of second-hand that's filtered through Melbourne from those classic shops, even in Paran and a few of those areas. Ultimixes and all these records were getting around.
Yeah, we joke, we call it Pran.
Pran. Piranha. I think of Piranha. I think, you know, when I remember that suburb. But I remember going there and so a few good, cool record shops there, as well as like Sydney with their record shops up on Oxford Street, Crown Street.
Yeah. I loved going to Sydney.
Reach and
You
Records.
get there and the phone book, the page is already ripped out.
Yeah, you know, that's funny you say that, because that has...
in the early 2000s there was no mobile phone.
Exactly. I think that's, I mean, this thing started in US. Some dude over there was ripping out of the telephone book the page to the record shops. And I mean, geez, like, it's how frustrating, you know, trying to come to a city looking for record shops and they're all torn out on R. The letter.
Yeah, and you didn't have your phone. And Sydney's a funny place like that, you know. Melbourne, you go somewhere and you'll go and talk to someone and they'll be like, oh yeah, and you won't get away from them and they'll have a whole list written down for you. You go to Sydney and you're like, oh yeah, just looking for some other record stores, and then they're like, oh yeah, like they give you nothing. You know what I mean? Like you go in there and you talk to people like you do. You go in a record shop. I just found Sydney a bit funny like that. Like people just didn't even talk to you. Yeah, and yeah, so it's kind of a funny place, and I'd be trying to like find places and catch trains and go all around, but I did alright in Sydney.
Yeah, no, that's great. And then obviously we've got a few places up here now with we've met in Southport. That's kind of how I've really got to know you a lot better at that Southport shop, which is
Mark.
Just a heavy dark digger's den. Especially now, but I talked to Mark the other day and showed some of the footage from some of my clips and everything of the old shop. So now that's history laid. That's there.
Yeah.
You know?
How good was that last shop? People just came in there and took photos. That's how cool it was.
Yeah.
And everyone would say, it's so cool in here, and Mark would be like, I don't care.
No, he was great. He'd let us have beers in there and we could relax and play tunes all day and just go looking for the styles, you know? So
that shop doesn't exist anywhere else in Australia.
Yeah.
You know? You can't go somewhere and everything's $5 and it's just a digger's paradise.
That's what I mean. He's kept it. I mean, he has his forte. You know, he has his alternative stuff that he knows how to price, and he knows what's worth things. But I mean, look, so much dance music came out, it was ridiculous. You know, so it's hard to filter through all of it and price everything up. You know, on the Discogs top level, but
100%.
Yeah.
You know, and it's you know, the internet changed everything. Before the internet, you know, things were cheap. There wasn't, you know, everything's got a price now. Everything's overvalued now.
Well, yes. In the jungle category, I've been looking up drum and bass. Well, I prefer to call jungle, and that's what I was collecting. I was astonished at some of the ones I have for many years, and ones I didn't have on that label that are all skyrocketed. So.
Yeah, and I don't know where it ends and how it goes. The shit thing is, you look these things up and there's 27 for sale. It's not rare.
Yeah.
There's 27 for sale.
That's
and
right.
And then the shipping costs you more than the record. So where does it end, you know? And I think what's happened is a lot of the sneaker market really died in the arse, and I think a lot of those heads moved over to records.
Yeah, that's right. The sneakers. Yeah. Oh boy, there's
you know, there's a generation in between that are really trying to make money. I don't know whether you call them millennials or Gen Z, but there's the kids in their early 30s. They're the fucking ones trying to make money on everyone, because I find the kids in their 20s that are coming up now.
Yeah.
Not so about that. Our generation, we weren't about that.
Yeah.
And you got the generation in between that have got some records and just want to price them and make it, you know, a real buck out of them.
That's it, man. That's it.
Surprises me how anyone sells any of them. It's disgusting.
Yeah. So getting back to the record labels, what's probably your favourite record labels?
Like if you're a rap head from the mid-90s, Fondle's the label.
Yeah.
My friend from England come and he said, he got some records. He's like, how many Fondle's you got? And I went, I don't know, 28 out of the 32. He goes, yeah, no, you're onto it. So, yeah, it's all about how many funnel ones you have. A lot of the records I'm into, there was only ever 2 or 3 records, maybe 1 record on that label. They only ever really did one, and there was only ever a few hundred made.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, wow.
Independent era of just like, indie records.
Yeah.
96 is the year.
Yeah,
97 if it was other parts of the country.
Yeah.
Because it's that long, it took 12, 18 months for it to get to the other side of the country, if that makes sense.
I see.
So a lot of it's based on the technology of the time.
Yeah, that's right. You can
yeah,
tell
everyone used SP1200 and then the Akai 950.
Yep.
And then, of course, your compressors and your limiters and your outboard gear.
That's right. And speaking of equipment, you've had a few there through your time messing around, hey, with TR-808 and all that sort of... Is that right?
As I came up in the techno scene, that's what we fucked around with, and we hung out. We just jammed on 808s and 909s and 706, 606, and I kept all the Roland. I sold the 808, I sold the 909, but I kept the Rolands, and I have a Space Echo still.
Fantastic.
I should have bought more, but my friend worked for Logitronic in Melbourne, which was like a place that fixed all this gear.
Yeah.
And he said, I might have an 808 there. Yeah, there's one on the shelf there. I'll ask the boss what he wants for it. He said, you can have it for $800.
Well, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
I sold 5,000.
And we know all the records made from the 808, of course. Hey, all of the early John Roby, the Magatron, the Miami bass stuff. What's some of your favourite there with that low bass, hard snare shit?
I was really into that. I bought the Freddie Fresh book, and I would take that Freddie Fresh book around everywhere and try and buy 80s records. And then at that time in the early 2000s, electro was a thing, and modern electro, German electro was a thing, and people we knew and hung out with did electro nights and things. And I was like, there's another electro, there's a better electro. And I went right back and studied the history and then collected records from that time of, electro.
Wow.
88 and Egyptian Lover, and I went really deep on that, and then I bought an 808 and then just listened to it like Egyptian Lover and trying to get that kind of stuff.
Those stabs, those sort of stabs that he does in amongst the beat. That's where that whole body popping locking thing really what they call ticking as well. They call it ticking is the dance,
So in about, 2006, I was really into that shit. Like, I was fucking so into, like, electronic 808 driven, Davey DMX,
Davey D, fucking hell, one for the treble,
so I still have that box set here of the electro box set.
Yeah, wicked. The electro box set was a fantastic, and I just picked up Electro 18 actually, which I was
Did you?
Yeah, gobsmacked. It was the only one I was missing.
Oh, really? Yeah, I sold a lot of them. I sold all the other ones. I've kept the box set.
Yeah.
But all those. Oh, wow. Yeah, daily I would look for that shit.
Well, it's a track called Royal Ron, by Royal Ron. Obstay Now, which is a Schoolie D produced record, and it's fantastic, yeah.
I've sold all my Schoolie D now.
Oh, no, not your Schoolie. Never sell your Schoolie.
All the hand-drawn covers, the yellow ones.
Yep, Saturday night. That was
I must have sold them because they're not here now. See, what happened is everything went into storage for some time, and then I moved up here, and then I had to sell a bunch, and then, over time things have just filtered out. And I had to sell a few thousand records just to move interstate.
Wow. Yeah, records, the crates are moving all the time, aren't they? And I've seen all of the work you've been helping there with our man at Byron Bay.
I was Vinyl Junkie,
Matt. Vinyl Junkie.
Yeah, I've worked for Matt for about 12 years now.
Yep. So, well, that's great.
I'm in Adelaide, and I do Melbourne, and then Brisbane, and I've done Sydney. Yeah, so I've gone around the country with Matt. It's been amazing.
Wow, so you've obviously run into lots of different collectors too, and seen them there, and just...
in every state. Yeah, I've been lucky enough to buy collections from every state in Australia, pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the community's cool here in Australia. I really like the Brisbane heads. I really like Adelaide. Adelaide people talk to you.
Yeah.
Adelade's fun, you know. Adelaide, I pick up some good records, and they have really good taste in music.
Yeah, well, they were DJ HMC and all that from that whole. They
Yeah,
did some
and they were schooled on a really good taste.
Yeah, those labels. Was it As One? There's a few Detroit-sounding things from Adelaide. Yeah.
And there's some really cool heads there, and yeah, I really like Adelaide every time I've gone there, and the people I've met there, and the guy that makes the condenser mixes, he's there, and yeah, you just meet. I don't know, I like Adelaide.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
All right, well, this is about to run out on my clock here, so I'm going to finish it up on the recording level anyway. But just hold on the line for a second, bro. Hold on. Oh.